What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is all about, once again, Six Nations, but this time focusing on the English rugby team. Now yesterday I did a video on the Irish rugby team, giving my thoughts and opinions on how I feel their campaign is going to be. So if you haven't checked that out, hit the iCard above and go check it out after you've watched this one. So in today's video I want to chat about the England rugby campaign this year, how they're going to do in my opinion, giving my thoughts, as well as players who to talk about and who to worry about and all that jazz, as well as Mr. Eddie Jones. There's always lots to talk about with this man. Now last year England pretty much had one of the worst years they've had in quite some time. Six Nations was not one to remember. It was the worst they've done since, I think it was the year 2000. So that was 19 years ago. It wasn't something hot to remember, and it's something they want to forget and move forward on. They ended the Six Nations fifth, having lost to Scotland, losing the Calcutta Cup for the first time in God knows how many years. Losing to Ireland as well as France. It wasn't a year to remember. But as they went on to South Africa, faced us in a 3-test series, and South Africa won the first two and then lost the third one. Now if you remember, the third one was an atrocious game because the water on the field was so wet, it was sloppy. The South Africans were not in the right place at that time, and England capitalised, but it wasn't a pretty victory. England did show some strength in the first game, especially against South Africa, where they just took control at the start, but then towards the end of the game they lost it. And that for me has been one of the weakest points of English rugby, is they don't seem to be able to finish off, and that's going to be a key going forward. Now why I say that is because if we look later in 2018 when England and New Zealand met, the English started off, I think it was a 12-point lead, and they were dominant. They were confusing the hell out of the All Blacks, and they just came at them strong, with such strength and determination, and it caught the All Blacks off guard. But one thing, and I've said this so many times, and I don't care, I'm going to say it again, you cannot sit back and relax and allow the All Blacks to come back, because once they come back, game over. And that was the case. Towards the end, come the 82nd minute, the All Blacks started firing back, and that put the pressure on the English, and they just couldn't cope with that type of pressure towards the end of the game, which seemed to have given them the confusion, and they were like lost of all sorts, and they ended up losing that game, a game that technically they had the opportunity to win, but they just couldn't. And then obviously South Africa was a narrow victory, but it was a good win for England. But again, not a pretty result because of the Farrell tackle, which was controversial. Which was a bit of a controversy towards if it was a penalty, would South Africa have won? But nonetheless, England still won that game and ended off showing improvement, showing a little bit more strength. Which was important and good for Eddie Jones as his team as they focus on 2019. Now 2018, if we go back into 2017, we were talking about England being the team to beat, England being the team to face the All Blacks. I did a video, I think at the end of 2017, saying England versus New Zealand, the game of 2018. It had all ends up, and after the Six Nations, people kept quiet and thought, now remove focus, it's now Ireland, because they're Six Nations Grand Slam champions. And rightly so, they deserved to get to where they were. They played some damn good rugby. But one thing I'll give credit to is England did prove a point, and they did come up and show strength against the All Blacks, but it just wasn't their year. 2017, they won the Six Nations, and then we're thinking, okay, 2018, guys, this is going to be the year, and they just didn't seem to gel. They peaked too soon in 2017, hit a bit of a flop in 2018, and I reckon as we watch them in 2019, we're going to see an improvement from the team. Will they be perfect? No. But will they be better? Yes. I think we will definitely see an improvement, because like I say in the title, England have a lot to prove. They need to show that they are able to hit the scrums hard, hit the attack, defend well, be able to handle the pressure in very, very tough situations. And what a game to start off with. I mean, you've got Ireland, who are the number 2 team in the world, who are on fire at the moment, who have just beaten the All Blacks. It's going to be a tough battle. So who better to kick off your campaign with against than the Six Nations champions? And I mean, who knows, if they get a win next weekend against Ireland, wow, now we're talking a different ball game, and it's going to get quite exciting as we move forward. So it's all into this game, and that's what Eddie Jones has said in his press conference when announcing his team, is we're not focusing about France. We're not focusing on the next games. We're not even focusing on the World Cup. We are focusing on Ireland. We have selected this team to face Ireland, and that is our goal, is to play Ireland to the best of their ability, hopefully pick up a win, and then focus on the next game. Now, I think personally that's a smart move. You want to build your team and get them right, see how they play, and focus on beating the potential, not potential, they are the best team in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's important for them to follow the processes, analyse what Ireland have done, and analyse what Joe Schmidt is doing with his team, and maybe Eddie Jones can take a few ideas and move that forward towards England. Now, England do have a few injuries, but they do have quite a number of players back that they didn't have against South Africa in the November internationals, which is going to be a massive boost, and even in the Six Nations. So that's going to be extremely important for the English rugby team as they move forward into this campaign, which will give them a boost and help them along the way. Dylan Hartley, I mean, that's a big miss for England. I mean, he's their co-captain, whatever they call it, and a big impact player towards the English team. So not having him is going to be a big loss for England, but they have the players to replace him. And Eddie said, I have all the faith in the world in Owen Farrell as they take on Ireland as the captain. So it looks like if Owen's fit, and I'll get to that in a moment, he will be captain of the game. And then Eddie went on to say, but Hartley will be back. So he's quite confident that he's going to keep that co-captain pairing. It's an interesting thing to do, having 2 captains. I suppose one's the captain of the backs, one's captain of the forwards. I'm more into the have your main captain and your vice giving advice, but either way it's quite similar. Now, the important part for England going forward is Owen Farrell. They need to make sure that this man is fully fit to play, and also they need to not be stupid and play the man if he's not ready. He's just just had surgery. I know it's not as serious, so he could very well play this coming week, next weekend against the Irish, but they also don't want to take a risk, but they also need one of their key rugby players. So it's going to be a big loss if they lose Farrell as well. But I think with all the talk that's going on, he looks like after the launch today that he's going to be ready and be fit enough to play that game, which will be great for England, and I think it will be great for Ireland as well, because the Irish will want to play and defeat, if they can, a strong English team, and vice versa. The English will want to play and defeat, if they can, a strong Irish rugby team, because they've also got a few injuries. Johnny Sexton's also possibility of maybe missing out the big English game. So much to look forward to, so much to think about the English campaign as we move forward, and it's a tough one to predict, and that's going to bring me to tomorrow's video, chatting about this tournament and the predictions and how we see things could end up folding out, which is going to make it very interesting. But I mean, it's going to be one hell of a game. I can't wait to watch these 2 magnificent nations play against each other and trying to prove a point, because this will be the start of determining who is the strongest in the Northern Hemisphere. Not forgetting Wales are also on the rise, so we can never forget them. So that's going to make this an extremely exciting tournament, one to really look out for to be excited about. So for me, I think this English rugby team have the capability to go on and show improvement as they reach and progress to the World Cup. I think if they want to win this tournament, they need to play firmly, strong, and capitalize on every opportunity and not slack at the end. Fitness is going to be a key, but I'm sure Eddie Jones would have thought of that. He's already made his few comments and chirps. He's also gone on and saying that this English team is totally different and more prepared than 2018's Six Nations England team, and they better be, because if they're not, they're going to be 5th place once again. And it's which isn't the greatest thing to have, because technically it's a bottom of the log, because you know Italy unfortunately always on the wooden spoon, so you don't want to be 5th place either. So a lot to look forward to, a lot for England to prove to their fans, to the nation, to the sporting world. It's going to be epic if they play proper good old school English rugby. I don't see it being a problem. But one thing's for sure, you can never count out the Irish. And as I said in the previous videos, the bookies don't see England winning, which means it's going to be tough for England to do this. But anything is possible. We'll just have to wait until next week to find out what actually happens. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all future videos. I have a few new topics that I haven't even discussed that are coming out this week, so make sure you're subscribed. We're going to talk about Wales as well coming up later in the week, as well as France and Scotland and Italy, so make sure you're subscribed, and a few other ideas that I'm coming up with. So lots more Six Nations rugby, and if you're from the Southern Hemisphere, don't worry, Super Rugby's around the corner, and I'm not missing that out, so don't worry. Hit the subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications so you don't miss out on another video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.